Hello, everyone. We're just getting stuff set up here. Want to make sure it's working. Can you hear me okay? All right, great. I think now it's around 12:15. We'll get started. Thank you all for joining us. I really appreciate it. Thank you, everyone who worked on this webinar with me, made this possible. Today, we're going to talk about solar for your farm. Is the right choice for you. So what we have done after the farm shows had a lot of interest. We wanted to go through this and kind of go over the information again so we can kind of reiterate what we're talking about solar. We are fanatics about solar, so this stuff's fun for us. We get excited about it. So I know you're busy. Farms are snow up in my area, so you may be outside. Hope you came in to warm up and watch the presentation. So let's get going. Again, here's some contact information for us. We have a great website, great marketing department that puts that on, iowawindandsolar.com, project pictures, all sorts of information about solar. Check it out if you haven't already. Call us 800-8080-SUN. We can talk solar and get you in touch with somebody that is in your area. And also be bright at iowawindandsolar.com. This is information we'll have at the end of the presentation as well. So let's get started with the presentation. Today we're talking about why solar. You've seen solar around, you're noticing it, neighbors have it, utilities are doing it. The state of Iowa is going nuts with solar and enjoy seeing it out there. So today we'll talk about why solar. Also we'll talk about the benefits and financial incentives. There's lots to talk about there. That's what we think, is driving solar, and that's why you're seeing more of it out there. Asset ownership is another big deal with solar. We'll talk about that. Is solar right for your farm? Bottom line, this is an investment you're making for the future of your farm, so you want to make sure that it is right for your farm. And at the end, we'll do some questions and answers. So I know you can write in on the side. I will take time at the end to answer any questions you have. A little bit about me. Renewable energy consultant for Iowa Wind and Solar. It's a great company to work with, very technology forward thinking, and we also do a lot in the field. So very much enjoy working with such a great company. I've worked for farmers for years. Actually, my in-laws farm, so I farm with them, so I understand the operation part of it. My brother-in-law is a hog farmer, so I understand that part as well. So basically, it's nice to see out there, and solar is becoming more and more popular with farms, as you can see. Family man, it says. So, yes, I'm a family man. I am married. So I've been married 13 years. My wonderful wife, Sandra. We have 2 children. Maggie is 8. Henry is 6. They keep us busy. They're constantly doing things, but they also love being on the farm as well. So it's really fun to share that with them. Enough about me. Let's talk solar. So why solar? Again, the big question I asked. You're seeing it everywhere. You're seeing it around. Why solar? What is going on with this solar boom in Iowa? It's not just about going green. Going green is a great part of it as well, but what we're going to talk about today is how this helps your cash flow. That's important to you. There's a lot of expenses in farming, a lot of variables in farming as well, and we're here to help you wade through that and make sure this is an investment you want to make. Huge tax credits and other incentives available. I mentioned that a couple of times possibly already. We're looking at the tax credits and depreciation for this is making solar so popular and making it possible for your farm. Now the benefits of solar. Talked about being green, going green is nice, but solar can actually reduce or eliminate your electricity costs. We're going to try to get as close as possible to covering that bill and as close as possible to help you save as much money and cover your usage for the year. Now this helps lock in your monthly expenses instead of changing month to month. Again, I mentioned cash flow. There's a lot of variables you're dealing with in farming. This helps take one of those variables out and locks it in for you. And it secures you from higher energy costs in the future. The costs will keep going up. We know those rates are always being raised. There's utility companies, RECs, municipalities to supply your power. The rates are going to keep going up. What solar is going to do is lock in your monthly your kilowatt rates, so you can be assured that by producing your own power, you're going to have your rate locked in. Now, tax incentives, we mentioned this. Let's talk taxes here. So right now, the federal government is going to give you 30% federal tax credits for your solar array. So 30% of the project total will be given back to you as a credit on taxes. Now in Iowa, there many states do the same, but Iowa's great because they give you another 15% on top of that. So what that means is you will have another 15% on top, up to $20,000 as a cap to show on your tax credits at the end of the year. Now credits lower the amount of money you owe to the government. So let's just kind of talk freely here. A little example we're going to do. Let's say a $100,000 project, solar project. So 30% of that, $30,000 would be a true tax credit to you from the federal government, and 15% from the state. It's another $15,000 from the state. So think about that, $45,000 right there in tax credits. And what's nice about those is the federal tax credit rolls over or carries over for 20 years and the state for 10. So you may be looking at your operation now saying, we had a slower year last year, we're moving some things around, I may not need these tax credits, but this is we're looking at it as a long-term investment here. It's going to be able to carry your tax credits over for years to come. And that's something we always say, take to your accountant, your financial advisor, and what they can do is help you figure out the best plan of action for your tax credits and what's going to happen with the solar incentives you have available to you. Again, tax credits lower the amount of money you owe to the government, so you can keep more of that money on your family farm and in your business to invest in other things as well. Depreciation, here's another one we talk about all the time, and as farmers, you know a lot about depreciation. So depreciation reduces your taxable income. You can write off the value of the array over time, and depreciation is on a 5-year schedule. I'm going to show you next an example of depreciation and kind of explain it more step by step. But as I said, as farmers, you know about depreciation. You're dealing with it all the time with equipment you're buying and improvements you're making to your facilities. Here's the example we talked about. Now, this assumes an installation with a gross cost of $40,000 with a 35% effective tax rate. Again, in our quotes, we show you the federal tax credit, the state tax credit, and how the depreciation is broken down to your individual project. We can move this 35% around and we can look and see what your rate of depreciation would be on your specific site. So look at this one, $40,000. Now, you can see how it's broken down over the 5-year period, cash value and tax deductions. One point I want to make that's new on the bottom here is with the new tax bill that came out, you can also now take 100% depreciation in the first year. Now, solar is depreciable basis at 85% is why we have it there. So you can do the numbers and say $40,000, why am I getting $34,000 tax deductions? Well, solar is at 85% depreciable basis is what it is qualified as. But again, with the new tax bill, and we can explain this to you when we go over things, but you can take that depreciation in the first year. We talked about tax credits a lot, and that's what you're looking at, depreciation. The tax credits, though, and if you've talked to us in the past, we may have already explained this to you, there is a limited time for the federal tax credit. So what's happening is, just like small wind did, in 2020, the tax credit will drop to 26%. And by 2022, it's going to be 10%. That is what is set now. It's been set for a while with the federal tax incentive. So just like small wind did a few years ago with the small wind projects, the tax credit whittled down year to year. So this is what's happening. So what this means for you is that if you want to take advantage of the higher tax incentive, it is good to get your project up and going because it needs to be installed, up and running by December 31st, 2019 to be able to get your tax credits, the federal tax credit of the full 30%. And as you can see by the chart here, it's going to slowly stair-step down. A few years later, be 10%. So the clock is ticking. Take advantage of the biggest tax incentive. And we do talk about this a lot because the tax incentives are very nice attribute of these systems. So why is solar a good choice for your farms? I get this question a lot. Why would you want this to be on my farm? What does this have to do with me? Well, you can't avoid energy. You need to have energy to run your farms. Grain dryers, tunnel, hog barns, lights, etc. Everything on the farm needs energy. When we put solar in, we're looking at that energy, what you're using per year. We look at your 12-month bills, and this is how we can build a system that we know is going to produce at or near what you're using for the year. The tax credits can save you thousands of dollars, which we just talked about, and hopefully you understand that. That is something that we definitely want to look at and take advantage of before they disappear after 2020. And a point here too, you can utilize already existing roof space in outbuildings. Now, a point on this too is some people say, I have a lot of roof space, I kind of want to put it on the ground, I have some ground space. We do all sorts of installs, ground mounts, roof mounts, flat roof mounts. So it's basically, it comes down to every project is different. We, as renewable energy consultants, look at your property and give you the best idea of what's going to work and the cost-effective idea of what's going to work on your property as well. So which farms are benefiting from solar? So all farms do, acreages as well. Hog farms are a big interest right now. We're seeing a lot of folks calling in about hog farms because they have a large utility bill they're paying every month, one of the largest expenses in the building. And so what we're looking at is taking some of that expense away by saving you money on electricity. Dairy farms as well, grain farms. I have a grain farmer I installed close to where I live over here in Carroll. We talked a few months ago and he said my energy bill was $7. I couldn't believe it, $7. So he was so excited about it. He was a straight grain farmer, running his drying bins operation. So we set the system up to make sure that it would benefit him throughout the entire year. Even the times when his most usage could be when he was drying grain, we set the system up so he would save throughout the rest of the year as well. Again, other farms I mentioned, hobby farms I've talked to, acreages I've talked to, other folks that just are looking at building buildings out in the country. So any place that has a roof or a ground space, commercial buildings in town, we do it all. So I'm talking about farms today, but those are some of the farms that can benefit from them. So this is something that we talked about at the very beginning. We're talking about owning an asset. Again, you're business people, you own your own farms, you run your own business. So owning an asset is something we're talking about here. So one of the best aspects of solar that you're putting money into an asset you own. I tell you, a wise man once told me is to talk to people, kind of put it like this. You're already paying taxes. You're already paying electricity bill to the REC, Mid-American Alliance, to somebody your electricity bill is going to. We're taking that money that you're already spending, think about it, already is being gone, we're putting it into an asset that you own on your property that after the payoff time, which we see around 5 to 10 years, you'll enjoy free electricity for your array, from your array. Now think about that. Once this thing's paid off, it's going to produce energy on your property. It's going to reduce or completely eliminate your electricity bill, and it's going to keep your business running and take one expense out from there. These arrays have a life expectancy of 40 years, which means around 30 years of free energy. So we're talking about is there's still solar panels from the 70s that are working. So what we see is that these are very hardy systems and made for the Midwest. Our equipment is very strong, will stand up to our weather patterns. We also have 25-year warranties on things, which we can talk about to you with your energy consultants. So what we think about is the 40-year time period we're saying is, yes, we warranty for 25 years. We know this thing's going to last for quite a while and give you free bills. And that beats having to pay the same bill forever. Like I said before, you're already paying taxes. You're already paying electricity bill. We're taking that money, putting it into an asset you own, and an investment on your property. Is solar right for you? That's the million-dollar question, huh? There are a few questions to ask yourself if solar is right for your farm. I get a lot of questions about solar when we talk to people. So if you think to yourself, I'm paying a lot of electricity, I'm paying a monthly bill of 500, 1,000, 2,000, 150, whatever it is, that keeps your farm running. We talked about before, you have to have your electricity. What we're doing is helping you keep that money on your family farm. So I have outbuildings or ground space to put this asset on my investment, a solar array. It's going to be a space that I'm not using for anything else. It's actually going to produce money now because I can put something out there that's going to help me save money and produce money by the keeping the electricity bill and the money you save on that. And if you're interested in paying less taxes to the government, that is something that everyone talks about. I don't like to talk politics when we talk solar. So if you're interested in paying less to government taxes, solar is definitely for you. If any of these questions answer yes, and there's a lot of other questions you can answer yes to, then solar may be right for you. So does this sound interesting to you? We've gone over a lot of information in a very, very short time. And again, this is what we're here for as renewable energy consultants. So myself, our company, your local consultant you talk to that sent you the link to this webinar. Let's ask questions. Call us, talk to us. Let's figure out if solar is right for your property. Now we do that by giving you free professional quotes. What we like to do is get your 12-month energy bills like I talked about from the electric company. We can analyze those in our system, and then we can come out and give you a quote. We're doing a really great thing where we come out to your property. We take pictures of all your electrical components. We actually, some of us have drones like myself that we're licensed to fly. We can take drone pictures of your property, and that goes all to our engineering department, and they can build you a quote right there. So free professional quotes is something we love to do, and we're out doing them all the time. And then with that quote, what's going to answer the question for you is solar right for our property? We're going to know that once you look at it. And once you talk to the banker, your accountant, your financial planner, you're going to find out that the solar is a great investment for you right now, especially with all the tax credits going on, depreciation, and the money you're going to save on electricity. So I hope you're interested. That's kind of everything we ran through. Again, very quick, a lot of different points we covered there. I'm going to stay around here for time for questions. But again, thank you for watching. We know solar's out there. You're seeing more and more of it, and we're here to basically help you answer the questions you have and make sure solar is right for your property. It is an investment. We know that. You have a ton of other investments on your property. So what we're doing is we're here to help you answer all those questions. Again, go to our website, iowawindandsolar.com. Look at our project pictures. Look at the information we have on there. Call us or email us at bbright@iowawindandsolar.com. All right, thank you again. I'm going to answer some questions now. Let's see here. There's a question about why are you walking on the panels, on the pictures? Well, that's I'm glad you checked out the pictures there. The panels are actually really strong. The the panels can handle Midwest weather. We've got people can walk on those. It will hold us, hold our installers, and that is something that we do to help install. But they will definitely hold us. It does not hurt them. They are very strong and made for Midwest weather, like I said. What are the efficiency of your panels? We talked about the 25-year warranty. We're going to show you that by monitoring that we do as well, those panels will produce 82% of what they're supposed to in the 25 years. And so that's what we're talking about, a 25-year warranty, production warranty of 82%. And that changes on different panels. The ones we're using now, that's what we're looking at. Good questions. Oh, here's another question. The roof mount, tell me the difference between roof mount and ground mount. I kind of touched base on that a little bit. Now the roof mounts, if you have extra space, you want to keep them up off the ground, and you have that space is there for you, great spot to put them. Ground mounts are a little different. There's steel posts in the ground. There is other things as far as space you need, but it basically depends on what you're looking for. It's your project, it's your property. So we're going to look at every aspect for you, and we're going to see what's is best for your property, either the roofs or the grounds. Now, looking at the roof mounts, we want to look at roofs that are going to support solar as well. So that's a great question for your consultant, and we can answer those questions for you. I think I touched on this a little bit. What percentage of the panel capacity typically remains at the end of the 40-year lifespan? So we're saying production warranty of 82% of the production after the 25 years. There's at the 40 years, we'll see a little less than that, but the 25 years they are covered. Here's a tariff question. I knew I'd get one of these. We did have a tariff webinar before. It's a great one we went through. What will the effect of the new tariff be? And the simple answer is it's still pretty early in the time of it. We are watching it very closely. We took some steps in our company to help offset that a bit, and that is a good way to look at future projects coming up. The market's going to fluctuate a bit. We know that, but that's a great question. We did have a webinar on that before. Something to ask your consultant or call our office. We can explain that to you in more detail. But we are watching it very closely. It did go through. We were very well aware of it. We made strides to keep our prices where they need to be. Hail, another good question. I get this question a lot. Excuse me, I gotta readjust here. Here we go. Hail is one thing that we talk about. Our panels are rated for Midwest weather I talked about. We use high quality monocrystalline panels that are tough for the Midwest. Hail can affect them, obviously, if you have a large hailstorm. What we see is that you actually insure these on your property, so in any kind of act like that, a major storm, tornado, the amount of damage would be covered by your insurance. So what we're talking about there is, yes, they are strong, they will take hail, but anything golf ball size, softball size, you're going to probably ruin your entire buildings. And so excuse me, I'm just looking at this. There is some videos we can show you guys, get some more information on the hail of how strong these panels are. So I'm free flowing this, first timer here. So these questions are great, but bear with me as I get through them. I'm trying to read all these things on the screen. Someone told me, let's see, John, someone told me horses are a problem with the panels. Any comments? I like that question. I think maybe you're talking about livestock if they're on the ground. Now we have seen where folks want to put them on the ground. Let's say I just talked to a guy last week that had sheep. He's a sheep farmer. He actually wanted the livestock to be around. What he looked at was raising them up a little bit from the ground. And then also we protect the wires in back. We put protection on there so that way animals, things out in the field are not affecting them and chewing on them. But yes, I have seen even folks use solar panels for shade structures and look at those for their animals and they can use on their farm. So it serves kind of a dual purpose, a shade structure for the animals and then also producing energy for their homes. Any other questions? So great questions. Keep them coming. I got time. I see there's some comments going back and forth about the 25-year warranty and the production. That's good. Okay, another question we have here. David, thanks for writing in. What if I wanted to build a utility-size project? We do utility-size projects all the time. We actually finished one in State Center and Bloomfield this year. Bloomfield was a 1.86 megawatt utility size project. That would be something we can talk about. Give us a call, email us. We have folks that specialize in that. We can answer the questions you have. If you're talking about building utility scale on your land, we can talk about that as well. So give us a call. But we do deal with utility size projects. We can handle them. We do a great job. The Bloomfield one was great to watch because that was about a month to install over 5,000 modules. It was great. It was fun to watch and it turned out beautifully. Great questions here. Here's one about investment for the future. People ask me all the time, and Lewis just posted a Bloomfield Solar link on there to answer that previous question. Please check it out. Investment for the future. A lot of folks are looking at their farms, going to pass down to the next generation. Maybe your farm's been in your family for 100 years, century farm. This is a great investment for the future and for your family taking over. It's something that's going to keep producing power like we talked about, 25-year warranty up to closer to 40-year lifespan. So what we look at is this is something for the future that you're looking at for your family farm, again, to keep that energy production on your farm and keep the money you're saving in your pocket. Does it make sense to install? Here we go. So does it make sense to install with RECs without a net metering? I'm glad you asked that question. We touched on RECs. I briefly mentioned them. There's a lot of different RECs in the state. There's different utility companies, municipal utilities, and towns. So it is, again, the quick answer to that is every situation is different. We need to look at every situation you have, what your power company is, and look at that. We do see great projects on RECs even without net metering, and we can basically make the project specific to your need and what the need of your REC is going to be with net metering. So great question. Please get a hold of us. We can answer that more. Again, solar is not a one-size-fits-all project. You basically look at every individual difference. Any other questions so far? Here's a good one. Time between buying and setup. Again, this is something that we look at a lot. So let's say we come out to your farm and everything looks great. We did a live quote for you. We see what's out there. And you say, let's go ahead and go. At that point, we talk to the utility company, and the utility company is going to take anywhere from 30 to 90 days to approve your project. We give them schematics of what we're doing, what we're going to put on the line, and what's happening. Now, after they approve that, so 30 to 90 days, we order equipment. We come out and install. Installation time can be a few days up to a week, 2 weeks, depending how big the project is. After that, once that is done, your project is there. It's in your property, but the utility has to come back out, and they actually need to do a witness test. So they will make sure we did everything right, everything's hooked up right to their lines, and they'll do a witness test. When they say it's good to go, then you can start producing solar. So that could be another 30 to 60 days. So in all, it could be about a 3-month process. We always say, if you're looking at this and want to talk about it, let's talk about it and get it moving sooner than later, so that process doesn't drag out too long, because it is a process with the utility company and making things legit with them. Here's another good one. How does utility size compare in price to wind? What I've seen, David, in my experience, and other people can chime in on this, is solar is comparable to wind, if not cheaper. Usually the towers have a lot of maintenance on them, and so you need to factor in the maintenance cost into a wind project. What we're seeing is a lot of wind towers around the countryside, small turbines are being worked on all the time, and some of the companies are not around anymore, so having to find parts can be difficult. That's what I'm hearing out in the field. Solar is very low maintenance. Panels, the wiring, everything's very secure. And so compared to wind, it's very, very much less maintenance compared to a wind project. Solar is. Good question. Good question from Mike over here. What is the purpose of having a drone when you're trying to size up solar system? What's great about our drones we have is we can measure, we can look at roofing, we can get a bird's eye view, if you will, and not rely on Google Earth or Google Maps, which sometimes aren't up to date. So we look at shading, what trees and buildings are going to do for the side of your array. We look at roof angles. We look at elevation changes, if you're going to put it on the ground, if you have a hill. We can see all that through our drones, and then we can also see if there's a better spot for any property. So the drones really help us do that. It's been a great addition, and it really helps our engineers to be able to build the best project for you and have an accurate project. So when we get a quote to you, you know it's going to be right. Any other questions so far? Some good ones. Notice on the side, if we don't have time to answer your questions live, We'll be glad to answer anything. Please email them to bbry@iowindandsolar.com. All right. I hope I got everyone's questions here. I'm out of time. Again, please reach out to us. If I didn't answer your question, you need more clarification on something we talked about quickly, talk to your local representative, your local renewable energy consultant, call our company, email us, get a hold of us, please. We're excited about solar and the future of solar. So again, thank you for your time.